Welcome back alive. My name is Kelly, the podcast host or whatever the hell this fucking is. Today I'm going to talk about just the in-between of when you do a lot of just spiritual work in general, or you are trying to manifest a new you, and there's this gap between who you are or who you think you are and the future self. And this can even correlate with thinking that like you are on the beginning of your spiritual journey and that there's an ending to it, and then the path in between. So say that I just woke up and I want to start doing all this shadow work and starting to wake up and all sorts of that jazz. And I want to do the Kundalini awakenings, I want to do the shadow work, I want to do the breath work, I want to do the meditations, the ayahuasca ceremonies, all this in between. And I just spent all this time healing, making myself better, thinking that that is going to eventually lead me to the perfect version of myself. So here's the thing, you're going to be healing forever, and this is what really bugged me about the spiritual community and why I decided to step away for a second is because, before everyone comes after me, I'm not sitting here claiming that they're toxic or the spiritual community doesn't have it figured out. I just want to say that a lot of the times they get stuck and lost in that loop of healing, and one day they're gonna be their higher selves when they reach that vibration. Here is the fucking thing. If you spend the rest of your life like that, you're gonna be stuck in that in-between forever. There is a clear distinguish between the person that is over here and the person that is over here, is that the person over here doesn't believe or act like this person over here. And you think that there's all this time, there's time right here. If you just collapse that time and get rid of it altogether, what version of you would act like the version over here? Your highest self, so you might say. So instead of waking up, going to the gym, acting like the best-selling author or the person that creates content or the doctor that you want to be one day, or this person that wants to pursue music, or this person that wants to pursue their dream, their childhood dream, you start saying, oh, I need to take one more class. Oh, I need to do this. Oh, I need to do all these things first before I become the person that's right here. And I'm not saying the in-between is useless. I think the in-between is very important, but you can get here much faster than you think, and you are way more qualified to be here, probably more likely than you think. And there are people out there that are already here because they believe that they are here, because they just wake up and act like it. And that's the power of delusion, and that's the power of just the mind in general, is that when you collapse that space and time on the in-between, you just wake up and decide to be the person that's already living that dream life, if that makes sense. And the reality around you has no choice but to catch up to it. Traveling a lot, I remember seeing this pattern, and it was everywhere. It was absolutely everywhere. Everyone had this big grand vision, possibly of like who they could become down the line, who was the highest version of themselves after they did 100 million hours of meditation. They think, not that any of that is useless, but all I am saying is that spirituality can be a trap and an escape within itself, versus just deciding to be the person that is your highest self now. You already are well aware of what that person is, how that person acts, what that person looks like. If you don't, you could do the visualization exercises to even just see that. But if there's a reason that you cannot get this version of you out of your head. So I know so many people that have this version of themselves in their head, and I'm speaking about myself too, that I just can't help but see the person that has all the books written, the person that has all the courses written, the person that is on TV or just YouTube or on camera. I have had visions throughout my childhood, even my adulthood, of just be speaking on stages. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but I'm speaking on stages. Why do I keep seeing that? This inner void within me, and possibly a lot of other people, that my life would be not complete until I got there. It is the weirdest thing. Like I feel like there's a version of me that has to live that out. Why do I feel that way? Because there is a version of me that's already living that out. Collapsing space and time and just all the little different dimensions, all of the different realities. If I could just align to that person, which is like, even I'm just speaking for myself, I'm not there yet either, because I don't act like it. And that's what I just want to sit here and like wake everybody else up to, is that you're not there because you're not acting like it. You're sitting here stuck in your old same patterns. You're doing the same old routine. You're waking up, you're brushing your teeth, you're going to work, you're coming home, you're scrolling for hours, and that's it. Repeat, rinse and repeat for the next day. Instead, even if you have 2 days off, if you do have 2 days off, if that is your reality, instead of doing something that can be productive towards your future self, you sit there and waste it, and you waste time, and you go out and you play, and you just kind of like do nothing about it. That is where most people are stuck, is that they get stuck visualizing it because they know it's true, they know that reality is true, but they don't do anything about it. And it frustrates me so bad. Even myself, to see friends that you love or just like people that you love not live that reality out, because even when you could see it for them, you hear their vision, you hear their goal, still talking about myself. And every day there's like this crippling anxiety or feeling, or like I am not living up to my fullest potential, and I feel like so many other people go through that. It eats me alive. And sometimes it's so paralyzing, I do sit there and do nothing about it. I am not special, but there is the discipline between waking up and getting up and actually actively doing those things that align with you today, because we're collapsing timelines, not future you. You today, you sit there and you stay in the same pattern. In my mini course, this is actually what I teach. And I've done this before. I've collapsed timelines before, but then it just keeps changing, which is the most frustrating thing. Is once I get to my goal, I'm like, fuck, I have another one, I have a bigger one, and you know, this is life. That's always what's going to happen. But for the people that don't ever change and they stay in the same place, this is for you. And the first question to ask yourself is, what does that look like? Okay, what is that vision in your head that you can't get out of? Or if you haven't even gotten there, your current life, what about it do you not like? What about it do you want to change? And a great way that you can do this, I actually have a meditation in my course as well that teaches you about your highest self. Just to visualize that. What is she doing? What is she wearing? How does she act? How does she stand? Who is she hanging out with? How much money does she have? You know, like just tiny little details. Put as much color in it as you can. What color hair does she have? Who is her soulmate? Does she have a soulmate? Where is she working? Does she work? You know, just all these different questions to help figure out you. And it's easier than you think. Once you just kind of sit there and you give yourself a little second to breathe and to think, it's much easier than you realize. And it can't even just be something that you wanted when you were a little kid. Once you know what it is that you want, once you figure that out, and I think that's the hardest part, is that people don't have the time or never gave themselves the time to think that way. That's the distractions of social media, that's the distractions of life or the news or whatever the hell. Well, you know, there's programming coming from all outside of just your day-to-day. It's important you stay still long enough to listen to the voice in your head or to see the pictures in your head. That way you know what your actual channel is and what is correct, if that makes any sense at all. After you've identified this person, you are going to look at the habits that this person does every single day. Wake up, scroll, go to work, scroll more on your lunch break, come home, scroll, maybe eat some dinner, maybe you don't. You sit and watch another Netflix movie and then you go to bed and you repeat, right? Let's just use that as an example. Versus someone who wakes up and is not employed, right? You are self-employed, you have your own business. You're going to make content for that business. You're going to make your courses, you're going to publish your books. You're going to reach out to someone that can help you publish your books. You could reach out to someone that's going to help you design your website. You're going to learn how to design your own website. You're going to start to just create and move in the way that you're supposed to be moving. Identify the old habits, slowly kill them off. If you do it all at once, you're going to go back to it. Okay, this is even just like what I teach when people in personal training, I say don't start working out 5 days a week, 6 days a week, and think that you're going to stick to that. Start slow. Start even just going to the gym. You don't have to work out 90 minutes every single time you go. Just start making it a habit to go to the gym every single day or 3 days a week for a small start. And thus in life, take one habit that is not serving your highest self, get rid of it and replace it with something that's productive. So the minute that you wake up in the morning and you start scrolling, you're going to wake up in the morning, open the window, and maybe you're going to go sit outside for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Break the pattern. You are in a pattern and it is up to you to break it once you identify it. So small choices, one by one. And yes, maybe you are currently stuck at your current job, but when you come home, you're not going to scroll more, you're not going to escape, you're going to go to the gym. Tiny things here and there. On your days off, you're going to start working on your passions. Once you do reach up to a point where your passions start being monetized or you work so much to where you can take a little break, see if you could take a day off work. If shit like that is not aligning to you and your work is not fulfilling you, take a risk and maybe it's time for a new job. Maybe it's time to completely shake up your life and take your savings and take a shot at just employing yourself or, I'm using a specific example, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Take one habit and you break it and replace it with a new one. Slowly but surely, you will eventually become a different person. If you're really good at it, you could just all of a sudden act like the new person, but if you're really good at that, that's terrifying. I worry about you. Next, raise your standards. And this comes with building self-confidence as well. So what do you no longer have time for? What do you no longer put up with that old version of you used to? This could be negative people, this could be toxic people, this could be hanging out with people that have horrible patterns. I have firm boundaries, even like at my serving job, I have firm boundaries that They go out and they go drink after work every single day. I have firm boundaries that I'm not going to do that. And it sucks because they think I don't want to hang out with them. It's for the specific reason is I don't want to make it a habit of going out and drinking with my friends. First off, if that is the friendship, then we're not really friends. We just bond over drinking and complaining about work. Not what I want to do. I want people that are visionaries. I want artist friends. I want friends that are into motivational speaking and meditation and happy things in life, So I choose that I'm really careful with hanging out with only a handful of people that really fit into that niche. And once you find one friend, you'll start to find more friends that are like that. So because you are who you hang out with. So what is it? The 5 people that you hang out with is who you are. So choose wisely, If you are hanging out with people with bad habits, you will most likely take on those habits yourself. And that's that. With firm boundaries and even just like yourself of what are you going to be consuming? Are you going to be consuming shit toxic media on the television all the time? Are you going to be doom scrolling every single day? Are you going to be eating hot Cheetos for dinner? Like there's so many things that you have discipline and boundaries for within yourself that makes you a better person because your habits define who you are. What you consume is who you are and it becomes who you are. Your actions are also who you are. More than what you speak. Pay attention to just energy overall. How are you speaking? How are the people around you speaking? If people are negative all the time, your voice in your head will become negative as well. And that's why a lot of people are just naturally negative because growing up they were either raised by negative people or they listen to a lot of social media that is just very fear-mongering and very specific on keeping people trapped in a loop. That's a topic for a different day. Once you determine your non-negotiables, gym this many times a week. I'm gonna read this book every single day. The food that I consume is gonna be healthy and good for me and nourishing. The friends that I hang out with and the people that I consume or just choose to be in my energy are going to be very small but very full of quality. And also here's the thing, once you have decided this new life, you're gonna realize that you actually there's nothing about your current life that fits that at all. I used to live in a crazy house where everybody was drinking and doing drugs and partying all the time. It was during COVID, it was so unhealthy and the mindset of the people that I was hanging out with was so unhealthy. And I just remember I was like, I actually can't be here at all. And I love my life on Maui, but this life on Maui, I do not like. The person that I want to become literally does not even associate with people like this. Unfortunately, I lost friends. Unfortunately, I lost that house. I don't live there anymore, clearly. I did also lose a lot of the habits that came with that. So, I don't sit there and party at home on a beach anymore. I don't consume in that behavior and just participate in that behavior that they did. But who am I today? I'm a person that goes to the gym all the time. No one in that house did. They were very out of shape. I was very out of shape. Now I'm very in shape because patterns changed. I changed. My mindset changed too. I got so much more positive. And the second that I started to become positive while I was still in that house, I remember it repulsed those people. They were repulsed, mocking me for it, making fun of me. It was like the dark energy was like, you can't be light. And it tries to kick you out and tries to reprogram you. You gotta be stronger than all of those voices and eventually just change your environment. If that's not suiting you, you gotta move. If that's not suiting you, you gotta cut out all your friends. Yeah, is it lonely? It definitely is lonely. But I would rather be lonely in my own company that's positive than depressed around people that I don't even like. Point blank, no brainer. At the end of the day, your habits should align with your future. Your habits should align with the version of you that you can't stop thinking about. Because that person does exist. If you are thinking that, that person 100% exists. You just have to tap into that reality. And once you energetically align with that, everything around you will start to just naturally happen. You think that you have no control, but once you start to have control in here, that's when everything out here starts to match it. It is like a magnet. Your energy is a magnet. When you start to radiate a certain energy, things stick to you. Good opportunities happen to you. Good people come into your life. Just even looking at the person that was in just such a loop of despair and victim and depression versus this one, so fucking different. Me and old me could be sitting next to each other and we would look completely different. Maybe that would be my long lost sister. I don't know, but we are visually completely different, so different. I wish I almost want to pop a little picture up right here. How different that I used to look when I was doing all vibration. When you start to vibrate higher, you get arguably hotter too. It's so weird. And that is the hard truth also, is that you will outgrow people, you will outgrow places, you will outgrow everything. And that's just kind of when you go into the dark night of the soul. You get really sad and you start to mourn just how much time you wasted in that environment or just the old version of you when you knew it was so easy to switch. And maybe it's not that easy, but it's easier than you think. And it's not glamorous in the beginning. Sometimes you're just sitting there crying because you like don't know what the fuck is next. You don't know what your life is gonna look like. You don't know a lot of things. Things get shaken up and you start to lose everything and it feels like you're nothing and you start at rock bottom, but that is the best place to be because at that point you get to build upwards. And then out of nowhere, all of a sudden, you are a different person. I do break down more step by step. Like if you are in a space where you are stuck in that identity and you don't even know where the hell to start and you feel lonely, don't. I got you. I wish I was here, like someone like just me existed out there when I was going through this transformation, because I didn't know what was going on or what I was going through. Nobody was talking about it. No one was even really into spirituality or there's all those self-development books, but it was so mocked, and it still kind of is mocked these days. But I noticed so many people in my day-to-day are actually taking on habits to become better people. Like I see so many people getting into fitness routines a lot more, and it's not just the new year, new me. Like people actually having results of like, oh, I lost weight because I want to be better. People saying, oh, I've gone a year sober. Like actual results, and I'm really proud of that. But I just want to keep that like narrative going. I wish there was someone, like if I could like have this now as old me, like I feel like that would be so helpful. Here's the step-by-step of what you need to do to get rid of all these habits and become the new you. Here's the science behind energy. Here's how you attract all the good things in your life. Here's how, like this, everything, like Reset Ritual was made literally for older version of me that wish I had like Big Sister Kelly or this version of me to like be like, look. And if I had a picture of me to be like, look, this is where you are. Keep going, bitch. Like, don't stop. But I didn't, because I saw this version of me. I saw this version of me alive in my head, and it looks exactly the same. I check myself out, but I still have a next version of me in my head, and I know how to get there. It's just one of those things where I feel like I'm in between again, which is really awesome, and I'm excited, but I feel myself stalling, and I feel myself making excuses, and I feel myself, just staying in the old loop, which is not as worse as my old loop, but I see it. And that is the first key, is just becoming aware that you are there and that you want to be somewhere else. That is the first step of like, I know I'm being difficult and I know that I need to do things to get there. Make it a rule for yourself. Don't complain, because you're exactly where you are for a reason. You can't complain. You're the one keeping yourself in that environment. You literally have so many options to move and to be better and to do better things, but you choose not to. It's your fault. Take accountability. And that's the hardest part. People that also just don't want to take accountability, they're gonna stay stuck forever. Don't mind them. You're different. You're better. So be better, okay? Healing can become hiding at one point, and you don't need more self-awareness. You just need to make a fucking decision. You're not stuck at all. You're just acting like your old self still, and you choose to stay there because it's comfortable and it's what you know. Humans don't like change. They know that where they are is keeping them safe, at least. So that's good enough. I'm alive, But change the fucking habits. Yeah, it's scary. You don't know what's gonna happen. However, isn't that the beauty of it? You don't know where you're gonna end up. It's never gonna be anywhere fucking bad. Like I don't believe in mistakes. I don't think in bad things happen to people. I think shit does happen, but it's for a reason. There's a lesson, there's a learning opportunity, there is so much more in mistakes than what you think. In the beginning of this, I was talking about staying into the coach after coach, staying into the course after course after course, staying into the book after book after book. Like, yes, those things do help. I will say that. But if you stay in it forever, there's not something like a magic answer that's going to all of a sudden activate your reality. That's up to you. While you're still learning, while you are still going through that process of being a different human being, just start acting like it right now. That energetically is way more productive than reading the next self-help book, than going online scrolling for an answer. Energy is so much quicker than just sitting there stalling. So all in all, healing and spirituality and all that good jazz can definitely be a trap. Don't get stuck in it. It can be a loop, just like your old excuses. The real change happens in energy right now, like the right now, not past you, not future you. What are you gonna do right now that's gonna change the pattern? It's gonna change the loop. It's gonna get you out of the loop. What are you gonna do today that's going to get you one step further? And what's so funny? You have so much doubt in yourself when you do all this too. Like, am I crazy? Like, I asked myself if I was crazy so many times. Like, am I fucking crazy for wanting this or thinking about all this or believing in all this? Like, especially when everybody that you surrounded yourself with and everybody that you loved and cared about, or that cared about you, tells you that you're stupid, crazy, cringe. It's so disorienting. You have to be the strong one to be like, no, this is the right answer because this is what I see. You will ask yourself if you're crazy 1,000 times. And the answer is yes, you are crazy until it works. So don't mind what other people say when you want to elevate. Your true friends will love you and understand you and totally be like, that is 100% who you are. You know, those who see who you actually are will see that version of you that should be lived out, and they'll encourage it. That's what I learned is like one of my friends, literally I told her about my book and what my big vision is. And I don't normally tell people that because they're like, okay, Kelly. But she just sat there and she looked at me, she goes, that's totally for you. I could totally see that one day. And it was so refreshing to hear that because old friends, and I've had people in the past that told me complete opposite, and it was not helpful. So if people aren't encouraging you, find new people. They're out there. But your biggest supporter will always be yourself, always at the end of the day. So if you're like me and you wanted to break up with the spiritual community, you can. But don't be a little bitter ass NF. Don't be bitter as fuck and just think that you're better than everybody else also. I hate that. Spiritual ego is another thing, is thinking that you're better than everyone because you've been through all of it. Like, that's the most annoying part. Thinking that your ego is completely gone because you're spiritual. Thinking that you're better than everybody else because you're spiritual and you have a secret knowledge that nobody does. That's an ego. That is also a construct. Like, that is a personality that you have become. And it's annoying. Stop doing that, please. Just be you. Like, you could still be a normal human being. You don't have to sit there and say highest self, chakra alignment. Like, you don't have to be all that. Just be. It's good enough. I'm probably get a lot of hate for that too. Probably get a lot of hate for all of this, but I don't give a fuck. Yeah. Being authentic is one of the coolest things you could do. And the more that you are true to yourself and stay true to you, the more that the path unlocks. That wraps up this episode, you guys. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being open to being a better you and just exploring the cool things about life with me. That's awesome. And thank you. If you guys always want more, you can follow me at Instagram, Kelly Jack. You could also look at my website. That's where my mini course is. It's called Reset Ritual right now, but it's going to be called Identity Reset. So if it's either of those names, that's what it is. And you can go ahead and book VIP to work one-on-one with me as well. I have books coming out also, so stay tuned for that email or just that notification. It's gonna be blasted everywhere once it's all available. So yeah, that wraps it up. Thank you. I love you. You're doing so freaking amazing, and I'll see you next time.